Good morning. I'd like to call the March 20th, 2019 public meeting to discuss regulatory matters to order. Welcome. Purpose of the meeting is to take public comment on permit applications. Input only. No decisions will be made at this meeting. Policy level issues will be deferred to the governing board. There is a standing opportunity for public comments on the monthly governing board agenda. Webcasting and video conferencing is available at our Fort Myers Service Center and via audio at the Okeechobee and Orlando Service Centers. At this point, I would like to confirm our connections with the other locations, starting at Fort Myers. Welcome, Fort Myers.
Good morning, Jill. This is Melissa in Fort Myers. We do not have any members of the public today.
Thank you, Melissa. Orlando, welcome.
Good morning, Jill. Mark Ady and Mark Darren here. We currently do not have any members of the public in attendance.
Thank you. Okeechobee Service Center, welcome.
Good morning, Jill. This is Eve Raymond in Okeechobee. We do not have any public members in attendance.
Thank you. At this point, I would like to open up the floor to Mr. Martin.
Thank you so much, Drew Martin. I'm here on behalf of the Loxahatchee Group of the Sierra Club, which represents Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. So I see that we don't have anything on the report for 2 and 3. How do you determine, am I allowed to ask questions, or you can't respond, or how does that work?
If you have an item that has come in as an application that you wish to have on the list, please contact Lysandra.
Okay.
I'd be happy to put it on the list.
Okay. My concern, and one of the concerns of the Sierra Club, and I'm just going to speak about items, on the pending items, because obviously there's nothing of interest on the 2 and 3, are on areas where we have golf courses that have come in for development. And I'm concerned that historically, when the PUDs were established, those areas would have provided the open space and water detention areas during storms. And that many of these golf courses now are under condemnation, or developers are buying these courses and developing them. And I'm concerned that this may reduce the amount of flood protection for these neighborhoods. So that's one of my major concerns. I also am concerned about water quality and the lack of stormwater capture and cleaning from developments. And it was my understanding from statements made at the governing board technical report that the water flowing into the C-51 canal is not being, there's no cleaning of that water. It doesn't run through any kind of a storm treatment process. And maybe you could verify that for me. I'm hoping that in the future developments will have storm treatment facilities built with them.
All permitted facilities have storm water quality treatment prior to discharge off-site.
Okay.
What they were referring to is C-51, there is no additional treatment as in via an STA or.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you could show me what those storm treatment areas where they capture and treat the water, what they look like. Maybe you have some design pictures I could see that you might be able to show me, or you might be able to point me to some
I'll
developments.
point you in the direction of the division that handles the STAs.
Okay.
We don't, in regulation, we don't handle stormwater treatment areas for the district.
Right, but I'm talking about on developments where they're capturing and treating. I did attend your conservation workshop that you had Friday, and I talked to some of the vendors that were here, and they had some interesting products that capture and treat, I guess, treat stormwater. And I thought that, that seemed like really nice products, and I just wonder if in your permitting process, if you suggest those or recommend that type of products, maybe someone could let me know, and if any of the permitting people attended that workshop. Now, when I was riding home in the rain yesterday or the day before, I was on a bicycle and I was riding through Lake Worth, and I was hit in the face by a sprinkler while I was riding home in a pouring rain. And I just wonder on developments, if you require that they have, obviously the Lake Worth Golf Course isn't something that you approve, but if there is a requirement that people have rain gauges to prevent sprinklers from running, is that when you permit, is that something that is required? I would be curious to know. Because of water conservation, seems like a lot of the landscaping is using quite a bit of the water that is both potable and groundwater. So I'm concerned about just the runoff from some of these developments. And I did visit a development at called Bellagio, where they had retained some cypress trees, which they said were retained based on your requirements. So I want to compliment you on those requirements. I assume that, I hope those are still in place, but I assume that was quite some time ago. But I appreciate the fact that that your requirements led them to keep some cypress trees on the property, and they had some nice wildlife there, and I thought it was a real benefit to development. And they did state that that was a requirement that when they did development by the South Florida Water Management District. So thank you for that. And are you going to have these meetings every other month, or have you decided?
The next meeting is going to be June.
June,
19th.
okay. Because I do feel, bad about having to have all these people have to show up on my account, but I do appreciate the fact that you waited till 5 after to start the meeting. And next time I'll park closer now that I know there's available parking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Do we have anyone else that would like to make a public comment? I guess not. Okay. Do you want to make a public comment? Okay, thank you. At this time, I want to remind everyone that information is always available online through e-permitting. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 19th, and currently our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.